Most bankers aren't ready to help you until after their third cup of coffee. But with Central National Bank's after-hours service, you don't have to wait for the bank lobby to open to get help. You can contact us from 6 to 8:30 in the morning or from 5 to 10 in the evening, and we'll connect you to a real, live, local person who can answer questions and fix problems 7 days a week. Bank different. Bank Central. Central National Bank. Member FDIC.
This is a Rogue Media Network podcast.
Caroline, you should tell them about the newest thing that Bloody Happy Hour is doing.
A Patreon.
It's a Patreon. What is that?
That means you're basically like a VIP member, and there's 2 different levels that you can, subscribe to, and you get some perks. You maybe get like merch a little earlier. You get
exclusive merch.
You could get first dibs on signing up for a live show. You get episodes with no commercials.
You get our video because our video is no longer available on YouTube. It is only on Patreon. And the most important to me is you get videos of our live shows. So if you are far away and you couldn't make our last live show, it will be on the website. We're going to record this future live show. It's going to be on Patreon, but also bonus episodes each month. You guys tell us all the time you want more episodes. This is a way for you to get more episodes. So you're going to get our basic Tuesday, Thursdays that we always put out, right? But if you're on a Patreon, you're VIP, you're going to get more.
I can't wait to talk about in detail some more stories because I always have a lot of details I want to go to. I can law-splain. I might read a book.
They just unsubscribed. This is also going to be the exclusive place that Dirty Chat is going to go to. So if that is breaking some of your hearts, just go ahead and subscribe now. In order to hear the full content, it's going to be Patreon. Where do they go again?
Patreon.com/BloodyHappyHour.
Don't forget to
stay aware,
stay alive,
and always be DTF.
Hey y'all, I'm April.
And I'm Caroline.
And this
is your Bloody Happy Hour.
Caroline, are you ready for this?
This is your newest guilty pleasure.
It's the bloodiest part of your week.
Did we say something about it also being happy hour?
Show did.
Because we about to be sipping on some murder. Bloody Happy Hour.
Hey y'all, this is April.
And this is Caroline.
And this is your bloody happy hour. Hopefully this is your favorite true crime podcast.
Absolutely. I think it should be.
Yeah.
It's my favorite.
What we do on this podcast is we have a couple drinks. I got a mango chili. Truly.
I got a...
Ultra. Real basic over there.
Yeah, I'm being
Actually, this is real basic too. And we're recording on an off day today because we're kind of off schedule. But we are happy to be here. And on this episode, we usually do our full story. So you hear one story from beginning to end, and we take turns telling the story. If you tune into our Tuesday episodes, those are our quickies. And we just talk about...
Everybody loves a quickie.
Yeah.
We talk about quickie things.
Quick things that are in the news. We circle back sometimes.
We circle back and we pivot.
We do all the things.
Mm-hmm.
Did you have a story for us before
I
we got
did.
started?
I did. I want to tell y'all that Mary Poppins showed up at my house last night, and she flew my umbrella 2 streets down.
Did you knock out somebody's window?
This morning, where did I have to go? I went somewhere. As I'm driving home, where the hell did I go? Anyway, I'm driving home. Nope. Mm-mm. And I was like, that umbrella looks familiar. I was like, how the hell did my umbrella? It's 2 streets away.
It was pretty windy.
So
and rainy.
it was in my car last night when I pulled into the driveway, went into the thing. It was in my car.
Said before or after Ambien?
either I went on a walk with the umbrella and decided to leave it, or Mary Poppins came. I'm going to go with Mary Poppins because I did not know she was such a bitch. And she just take my umbrella like that.
Maybe somebody else needed it more.
That's true. But they could have at least brought it back. They just ditched it.
Well, they left it
That's
so that
true.
you can find it.
And it was wide
so
open.
It was borrowed.
Like it was opened.
I think it flew. I think you left it outside.
It flew all the way 2 streets down? It had to fly over houses and over fences. It was Mary Poppins.
It was Mary Poppins.
Yeah. So, y'all, just want to let y'all know that she's real.
In town.
And she is in town. If you see her floating around, because it was real rainy the
What
other
did
day.
she sing? Just a spoonful of sugar.
Like some medicine.
Is that Mary Poppins? Or is that Sound of Music? Medicine, go down.
That's Mary Poppins.
Okay.
And you know, now that you think of it, just a spoonful of sugar helps the medicine go. Like, what does that mean?
Oh, you didn't take your medicine with sugar growing up?
No.
Oh, my mom had to do that for us.
What?
Like if it was a pill and like we couldn't swallow it or if the pill had a bad taste, she'd crush it up in a spoon and then put it with sugar and get a little bit wet and you took a spoon of the sugar and you didn't know you had your medicine in there.
Oh my gosh.
Sounds like a little drug activity. I knew exactly what Mary Poppins was talking about.
Oh, wow. That's why she was the best. I love Mary Poppins. I actually, you know what? I'd call her a bitch, but it was meant in like a loving way. Yeah.
Term of endearment.
Yes.
We do that a lot.
Yeah. Also, there was another guy that set himself on fire.
Yes.
I mean,
talk
people,
about that on the quickie?
I know, because I just remembered it right now.
This is what I love this is the world that we're in right now is somebody had beginning to end full video of it, perfect video, as he's yelling for help, but he did not try to do anything to help. He just wanted to make sure he was video. So he videoed, help, police, help.
He was. I mean, I saw that, but was he actually yelling for help?
Yes. And then the video.
Did it show how he lit himself up though? Like, did he pour the?
He poured the accelerant,
poured it, and then
lit himself.
Yeah.
And it happened so quick. But listen, you think that maybe sanity will kick in when you're burning to death? No, he was still totally freaking calm, on fire, just like standing there. And then he laid down to the ground and he just kicked off his shoes.
Oh, when did he start yelling help?
He didn't. The damn camera guy yelled help. He was not yelling help. He did not even seem like he was in distress.
The part that I saw was they had already like blowtorched him out or like whatever, but he kept starting back up. He was. I guess it was such an inferno. He was, and so then it like came back to fire, and they had to blow him off again. Came back to fire twice.
This is also what I saw. So people are standing around, and then finally some guy, it was like and I don't know where obviously it's a courthouse. So some guy took off.
He did it in front of the courthouse where Trump is having the trial.
Yes.
I don't think it has anything to do with Trump or anything. He just wanted to
attention.
Yeah.
And some black guy, he might have been a lawyer, or maybe he was like a detective, but was not dressed up. He took off like his trench coat, and he was the first one over there. But then you see like at least 6 or 7 police just kind of walking slowly over to the body. They were not trying to get burnt up. They were not trying to save a life that day. They were just like...
Well, they probably defunded, so they don't know. They're like, well, this isn't just another day. Because they're like, we've been in the subway, we've over here, we had to catch this one murder, we had to let this person out of jail, like all the things.
So this random guy had to go save him because...
Well...
But I was like, maybe he was like a chief. Maybe he was like a firefighter. Like maybe he had the heroism in him. And then other people like
I'm
came.
Like, if you're that's
but the
good,
guy didn't die. He's critical.
I think he died.
Okay.
I've been hearing multiple contradictories.
At first, I thought he was just critical.
And you know, let me tell you what. I've also been. I've found a new podcast.
What is it?
It's called Trailer Tales. And it's real funny. So if I start talking like real country, it's because I've been watching Trailer Tales with Tammy and Crystal.
Tammy.
And Tammy is a good looking bitch. All right. And she's just a hot chick. You gotta fight. She has to fight off all the guys.
What?
And she
is it true crime?
No, it is true comedy. That's exactly. It is pure gold, is what it is.
Love it.
But anyways,
Trailer Tales.
I digress.
Okay. Well, so I told you on Tuesday's episode we're going to Germany.
Yeah,
I want to shout out to Jackie Espinoza, our sister Spanish podcast.
Oh yeah.
I was desperate for a story, and I didn't want to have you write another one. And she sent me. She translated her Spanish story into English for me and sent me a story. And that way, so half of the work was done. I have to go in and do my own research and add, stuff in there. So you guys have a story from Germany today.
I love it.
For Jackie. So shout out Jackie.
Shout out to Jackie.
Have you ever heard of Peter Kurten?
Yes. No.
So, and she's actually the one that told me about Peter Kurten a long time ago. When I hear the name Peter Kurten, I think of one of my favorite movies, Copycat, with Sigourney Weaver. And it was a great serial killer movie. Every true crime person needs to watch it. But Sigourney Weaver is a behavior analyst on the movie. And she's tracking down a serial killer, and it finds her. Serial killer finds her at one of her little conferences. She's basically like Katherine Ramsland.
Oh.
And one of her serial killers becomes obsessed with her, tracks her down and attacks her. Then she becomes an agoraphobic. So now she's like helping these police officers catch a killer from her house. And this was in the 90s, and she's got a lot of technology in the 90s.
Yes.
Well, the killer in this movie's name is Peter Kurten, but he is a copycat killer. So I love it because every kill, he's copycatting a famous serial killer.
Oh.
So the layman detectives don't know that, like,
it's on. Okay.
When they show up to this crime scene, they don't know that everything is perfectly set up like what Jeffrey Dahmer did or what Boston Strangler did or whatever. So it's a good movie. Go watch it. The killer's name was Peter Kurten. I thought it was just a fake name. He's actually a real serial killer and one of the first ones ever. So let's learn about Peter Kurten. And then we know it's gonna be a couple new vocabulary words.
I love that.
The first one is, so we know what kinks are, right?
Oh, yeah. We're all about kinks.
Non-traditional sexual behaviors that people use to spice up.
Yes, kinks. We don't like, we're not a part of furries. We denounce the furries, but we are okay with kinks. Or maybe I just denounce the furries.
I don't even believe in any of it.
Exactly.
Fetishes are a non-traditional sexual interest or behavior, but usually that has to be like necessary for arousal. So like you think about
like pee on you or something?
Yeah, or I was thinking of who was the big fat serial killer that I did that had to have the heels on? Put the heels on the victims. Like his was like his fetish was like his shoes.
Oh, got it.
Yeah. So but both of those are not usually extremely violent. It's when it gets into paraphilia is when it's abnormal sexual desires, but they involve extreme or dangerous activities.
Oh,
so
maybe
the
bondage.
choking.
Yeah, because I think they have to have like a code word when they're I'm about to die.
But even that, maybe that is more extreme. But that's a paraphilia. Then there's piquerism.
Is it a paraphilia or paraphilia? What is it?
Paraphilia is a condition.
Got it.
Then we're going to talk about piquerism. And
that might be my favorite.
If you're Spanish, then when you hear pica, like when that pica that pokes you. Okay. So that is a paraphilia or rare disorder that involves the desire to penetrate someone's skin with sharp objects like knives, razors, or pins. And then you get sexual gratification from that.
Okay. Like I'm gonna poke you with this like needle, and that makes me what?
Orgasm.
I just from poking you with the needle.
Yeah, or a
Or a
knife,
knife.
or razor, or pen. The sexual gratification comes from the shedding of blood. When they see the blood or the tearing of the flesh.
Oh, so like
Or the
basically,
pain and suffering.
whenever I was
Torture.
sweeping and my broom broke and I cut my finger open, a peekerism person would have been like, hell yes.
But they needed to do that to you while they're screwing you.
Oh, so like, okay,
In
we're
order
doing
for
it,
them
and
to get off, they needed that.
they need a little bit of blood.
Yeah.
They need a little bit of blood.
They need to slice you up.
Okay, I got it. I mean,
And then we got hemo. I don't know
Oh.
how to say this one. Hemotollagnia.
Spell it.
Hemotollagnia. Hemotollagnia.
Okay.
If that's pronounced like a g. That
Yeah.
is the drinking or looking at blood.
Oh, so vampire?
Yes. Peter Kurten is also
Wow.
known as the vampire of Dusseldorf.
Oh, is this Harry Potter? What is happening? Dusseldorf, isn't that like one of the things? Like a house or the house of all the...
Hey, I get
listen.
laid, so I know nothing about Harry Potter.
I don't either. I don't know if it's Lord of the Rings. I don't know if it's Harry Potter. I don't know if it's Star Wars. I don't know about any of those shows.
He's also known as the king of all perverts. So let's start from the beginning because we have to, because that kind of connects, especially with serial killers, it connects what they do later on in life, right? Their childhood, what happens in childhood. But, you'll see in a minute that there's not a lot of red flags with Peter Kurten.
Okay. I just
Or is
can't
there?
think about Peter Kurten because I keep thinking Peter Cottontail. Like I'm thinking about a bunny dude, but he probably is a furry.
So he was born on May 26, 1883 in Cologne, Germany. His family was very, very, very... Keep drinking every time you hear a red flag.
Okay.
Every time his family's very, very, very poor. And they lived in a small one-bedroom apartment. He was one of 13 siblings.
Oh.
In a one-bedroom apartment.
Mm-mm.
Father was an alcoholic
Yep.
and had a violent and sadistic side. Drink.
Listen, if I had 13 kids in one bedroom, I would also be an alcoholic.
And a violent and sadistic.
And I would be violent as well. So
When he got drunk, he would often force his wife or one of the daughters to undress and have sex with him in front of all the other children. So like I said, total normal childhood.
yeah,
There's not
like I mean,
many red
I'm
flags.
actually like waiting for the red flag.
Yeah.
Like where is it? Can you wave it in my face? Because I don't see it.
Since Peter was the oldest of the 13 siblings, he actually had to endure this the longest of everybody, right?
Well,
And often he would voluntarily absorb some of the violence for his younger siblings. So, like, don't go after
so he was a
little
good guy.
sissy.
Yeah. Like
I'll
take me
take it
instead.
instead,
Yeah.
yeah.
So I mean, he just
I know.
he protected him. He tried.
So, daily subjection to sexual violence and might have had a little influence on Peter. Might have, but we'll see. Such an influence that he too began having sex with one of his sisters.
I mean,
He just did what he saw. He thought it was normal.
like,
He thought it was normal.
what's really wrong with it?
We're just joking, y'all. This is your first episode where we're all a jail gang. So
I
his
mean,
dad
you are.
eventually went to jail for raping the daughter. But back then, you'll see that like they don't ever stay in jail very long.
They don't
Because he
nowadays
gets
either.
out
Yeah.
basically the next day.
Yeah.
His parents eventually got a divorce. At
Why?
the age of 8, Peter drowned 2 puppies.
Okay, now that's
in
where
a
we draw the
creek.
line.
In a creek.
Peter, you know what? I was fine with you banging your
Until
sister,
then.
but
Don't
you
drown
had to
the
go
puppies.
drown the dogs. Nuh-uh. Now that's a red flag. That's the first one I seen.
But he also drowned 2 of his friends while they were playing on a raft. So one
they're
friend
probably
was
annoying.
on a raft. They fell in the water and they couldn't swim. And Peter just kind of looked. Other friend went after drowning friend to help them. And Peter just thought it was okay to move the raft over on top of both of their
He
heads.
just was playing a prank. He's a prankster.
Until they stopped kicking.
Well, I mean, they should have figured out how to get out from under the raft. I mean, it's not...
Police thought it was a tragic accident. I mean, who would think that the other little kid would drown both of them besides me?
I mean, yeah. I think it was an accident. And I think they should have... Why are you on a raft in water if you don't know how to swim?
Oh, I know.
Or a life vest. So...
It's 1880. There's no such thing as a life vest.
Oh.
Maybe there's no such thing as swim lessons. Maybe nobody knew how to swim. I don't know. During the time...
I have a lot of questions. This is already off the rails, and it's going to stay that way. So just continue.
And now a word from our sponsors.
Hi, and welcome to Bustles and Bangers with your hostess, Rachel and Christopher.
I love it when you say my name.
And you didn't say hi.
I didn't. You just kept going. I'm going to introduce the book. I'm not reading it.
It's
because I don't like reading.
Girls like cowboy butts, and those jeans don't hide anything. Find us on Instagram at Bustles and Bangers or on roguemedianetwork.com.
Hey, I'm Blair.
And I'm Brittany. And we're the host of
By the Cover Podcast.
We cover everything from mysteries, thrillers, romance, chick lit, and even some smut.
Don't forget the smut.
Yeah.
We're so excited to get this thing going and share this with you guys. We've been talking about this for months, and it's finally happening.
Yes.
Special shout out to Rogue Media for helping us with this.
For sure. You can find us on Instagram at bythecover_podcast.
You can also find us on Facebook and TikTok, so don't forget to give us a follow on those too also.
And we are so excited to dive into some of our favorite books and share those with you.
We can't wait. Hope you love it.
During this time, Peter became friends with an older man that lived in this apartment complex.
Oh, here we go.
And this man would be pretty positive for Peter.
Okay.
He was the local dog catcher, and he would catch like the local dogs in the city.
Mm-hmm.
And this man knew that Peter had like these weird sexual desires, so this man taught Peter how to masturbate.
Oh, that's nice of him.
Yeah, I mean,
he's doing
it's a skill
Lord's
everybody's
work.
gotta
Yeah,
learn.
I mean, you gotta.
So
He's doing the Lord's work.
he also taught him how to torture the dog. So now Peter's just not going to kill them. Now he knows how to kind of torture them. And this is when he kind of sees that he loves, like, when blood kind of comes out of the body.
Like he likes to see the struggle. Like he likes to see the animal or the person struggle for sure.
He ran away from home a lot, like for days and weeks at a time. And he would have these sexual desires. So when his sister wasn't around, he went to the dogs.
Oh,
Or
so
to the sheep.
Oh,
Or the pigs. Or the goats.
At least he doesn't discriminate. I mean,
At least it's not a sister.
I'm not mad at him. Peter's just trying to get it in. Literally.
Literally.
And he did. What animals? Every one of them.
Any animal. He's equal opportunist. At age 13, he orgasmed and actually had his best orgasm.
Oh, my.
While he was choking a squirrel. So a squirrel bit him, which is, Peter's a bad person. When a squirrel bites you, squirrels just don't bite you.
I never even could get close enough to a squirrel for it to bite me because they're so fast.
Well, this one bit him, and he grabbed it and he choked it. And as he choked it, he
Okay, let's be
creamed
honest.
in his pants.
Let's be honest. How many times have you creamed in your pants from choking a squirrel? It's happened twice for me.
So from then on, he was not able to enjoy sex with any animal.
Animals. Oh, damn squirrel.
Unless it involves some type of violence.
I mean, fair. Yeah.
So then he ramped up his bestiality just a bit. And when he went to the farms or the fields to engage in these, relationships with these animals, he would often gut their necks and chop the heads off during the act.
Yep.
Stab the sheep so that he can hear the blood hit the ground as he's doing them.
Oh, that's interesting.
Or the goat or the goose. So he needed to stab them while he was engaging in the act. That was one of those words we just learned. Both of those words we just learned.
So
together.
he's over here like
all of them.
masturbating while he's stabbing. So
no, he's
like
screwing them while he's stabbing.
Oh, good, even better. Okay, he's inside. Yeah, so
he is screwing them, and then he will gut the sheep, and he only gets off when he hears the blood.
Quite an interesting
and penetrates the knife penetrates.
Yeah, that is quite.
I was like, how have I not heard of this person?
I don't know.
Now, he eventually ran away for good. And by the age 15, what he would do is he would sleep in the school for weeks at a time or in vans. And then he would just steal anything that he could to survive. And by age 15, he went to the jail for the first of 27 times. This first time was for theft. Like I said, in Germany, they didn't keep people in jail for very long.
Clearly.
Peter claimed that he committed his first murder in 1899, or he thought that he did, when he got out of jail. After he was 15, he picked an 18-year-old girl at a bar, convinced her to go with him. He said that they had sex and that he strangled her until she lost consciousness, and he could only get off if he strangled her.
Yeah.
Then he ran away thinking he had killed her, but when he looked in the news, newspaper, he didn't see any reports of an attack or a murder. He thought that was his first murder, but that did give him a little bit of thirst.
Yeah, he's like, I really like that. Let's keep going.
Yes.
I've graduated now from animals.
Yeah, forget the animals. He's done. He stopped. He did not get off on animals anymore. In 1900, Peter was arrested for fraud, and he was sentenced to 4 years in prison. And he was released in 1904. And as soon as he got out, he was drafted into the German army. This is around World War I time. So pretty sure that's Nazi, German, all that era, right? He was sent to France. But he was supposed to be sent to France, but he abandoned his duties. He was went AWOL. He was I'm not about this life.
Saw some good looking goats.
No way at all.
Got distracted.
And then that year he decided to.
Oh no!
They built the serial killer list basically off of him because he decided to start setting fires.
Okay, now.
Meets all the criteria.
Yeah.
He would set fire to buildings and sit back and watch and masturbate because he imagined women, prostitutes, and they're burning alive.
Got it. Yeah. It happens. It happens.
That gave him a lot of pleasure for a while.
Yeah. I can see that.
He was eventually arrested for going AWOL. In the army, not going to the war like he was supposed to. And for arson, he ended up setting 20-something fires, but he confessed to 4 of them. And then all these robberies, and then he went to prison from 1905 to 1913. But what he would do is he would cause violence in prison in order to go to solitary confinement. Because there he would just have quiet time and he would sit and he would daydream about how much he hated society, but also about killing women and how he wanted to kill them and how he would torture their bodies and their blood and decapitating them and just all these things. And so he was sitting in solitary confinement, imagining and masturbating. And if he wasn't already a sadist, he's really conditioning himself to be even more.
Yeah. And do you think he kept his jizz and stored it had a jizz wall?
A pile?
Yeah. Put on the wall.
Wrote things in his jizz.
Yeah, he probably did.
Perhaps. His first victim when he got out this time was Christine Klein. She was a 10-year-old girl. So he's not an ageist.
He is
either.
literally all over the place.
Older girls, young girls.
I
Animals,
mean,
farm animals, domesticated animals.
Is there a line?
I don't think so.
Is there men?
I think he kills one man, but I don't know that he screws him. So he's not gay.
Okay, so it's not gay.
So he has one line that he obviously won't cross.
Okay, got it.
So 10-year-old girl, he was going to rob this. So her family, it's like an inn.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm picturing like these old westerns where you walk into like a bar, but you can go and spend the night upstairs. It's like a hotel upstairs, right? And her family owned it. So she was going to rob this inn. He was going to rob this inn until he saw this 10-year-old girl sleeping in the bed, and he couldn't help himself.
He couldn't.
Her parents were downstairs working in the bar. So Peter choked her until she was no longer moving while he was raping her. And then he positioned her so that her head was hanging off the bed while he slit her throat so that he can hear the blood spill out on the floor so that he could ejaculate.
Okay. Yeah, that's...
I mean, normal sexual night.
It's average day, you know? Just average day.
Now, after he did that, he was so satisfied he wasn't worried about robbing the place anymore, so he just left back out the window. And there was a suspect that was arrested for Christine's murder. And it was actually Christine's uncle, because Christine's uncle and parents had gotten in an argument, and they were like, maybe Uncle JoJo's was mad and went and killed Christine. He had to go through trial and everything. So Peter loved watching like the trial and loved sitting. He stayed around that town. He loved like hearing the how the town was so scared of something that he did. Of course.
Yeah.
Uncle was eventually cleared of the crime.
Well, good. I mean, geez, poor uncle.
Been. I know. But, you know, Peter occasionally would go back to Christine's grave, found out where the grave was, and he would go and visit her, and he would play in the dirt, and that would cause him to orgasm. I'm going to say orgasm, I think, a whole lot.
I feel like this is where that Saltgrass show,
maybe it got that from that.
He was banging the dirt and the graveyard.
Well, Peter Kurten was probably was too.
He was probably Peter Kurten.
Would you say saltgrass?
I don't know what it's called. Saltburn?
Saltburn.
Ew. Yes. Oh my gosh. So then that means people actually do that.
Yeah, this is probably in the first.
That's one thing I have not. I mean, squirrel, like
choke a squirrel
and get off. Like, fine. Graveyard.
No. No.
We're gonna have a draw line there.
He enjoyed killing Christine so much that 2 months later, he found a 17-year-old. Her name was Gertrude. It's crazy that I think he's going to kill like 3 Gertrudes. She was asleep in her bed as well. He did the same thing that he did to Christine, but he nearly beheaded Gertrude.
Was she at the inn as well? Or just randomly he just...
No, this was just another house, another place.
Yeah.
He entered, this was a home.
Mm-hmm.
And then he was drafted into the army again because they really needed people to help in the war.
They're like, we don't care if you start fires. Like, it's fine.
We'll have goats on site.
We will have a goat for you.
Yes.
Maybe a squirrel.
But he abandoned his post again. He was jailed again, released in 1921. He did 8 years that time. But this time when he was in prison, Jack the Ripper was out and about and terrorizing the country. And so he fantasized about what Jack the Ripper might have been doing and about how he wants to be the next Jack the Ripper.
Yeah.
So
any of the times that he's gone to jail so far, were any of it had to do with murder? No. Okay.
Robbery, arson, going AWOL.
So, like, are they okay? I know you don't know. I'm like, are they investigating these? Are they trying to figure out who did it? Maybe they're now blaming these murders on Jack the Ripper. Like,
so now there's like just two right now because it's the 10-year-old and the 17-year-old. Because remember the first one,
yes,
he
she came
probably
back
didn't
from
die.
her. Yeah, she
Yeah.
did. She was choked out, but then she was regained consciousness.
Yeah,
most likely.
obviously.
But these two are very similar in their. So they should think like, oh well,
Yeah.
well, or, yeah.
And what he'll later say is that he's going to switch it up here in a little bit. He's trying to confuse police.
Mm-hmm.
And you got to remember, this is before like what a pattern is, what a profile is. This is before like really a serial killer.
Yeah, they probably don't even have the term yet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So on his release, he went to live in Attenborough. I don't know what that means, but he got married. He married a former sex worker named August.
I love that for her. Wait.
For them, because
yeah,
August was also a killer. She had just gotten out of jail for killing her fiance for cheating on him.
You know, this
on
is,
her.
There is somebody for everybody. So you know what? I'm not going to give up.
And he spent the next 4 years living as a normal man.
Oh my God. August really changed him. They must have had the contract where they're like, okay, we can choke each other out, but like, let's have a code word so we don't die, okay? Like,
he later said that he had to imagine committing violence crimes while having sex with his wife in order to enjoy it.
Yeah. He didn't really, because he didn't want to kill her.
No. He really, like, he's probably not truly capable of love, but he adored probably as much as he can her. At this time, he also had a consistent job and consistent money. And so this is probably what we would call his break.
Yeah, like a rest, not a resting phase, a cooling off period.
Cooling off period.
Yeah, cooling off period. I think that's what we call that. Yeah.
So
I mean, he had done so much. He needed
to just take a break.
I get,
He was letting Jack the Ripper have
his moment.
Yeah.
Yes.
Now,
then he was like,
yeah,
this.
I mean, it can only last for so long. He started getting
4
some
years.
side
I mean, that's a
pieces.
pretty good stint.
The fuck is the word?
I really think it's called like a cooling
off period. Okay. It's just not satisfying me right now.
I know, I get it.
So he would have sex with other women. So every once in a while he might have forced his wife, like he'd get too rough to his wife.
Yep.
Like started happening more and more. Then he started having sex with other women, but he's been really, really, really rough with them, like rape-like type. And 2 of his mistresses ended up accusing him of rape and seduction. Back then, adultery was very much a crime.
It is literally the cooling off period.
Okay, well, dang it.
I know. I'm sorry.
So he did 6 months in jail, not for rape, but for seducing other women, even though he raped these women.
Yeah.
Like, the rape charges got. Now, he appealed this and won, ended up not having to do any of the time. So.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
It's
a man's world. Now, after this, he was like, it's now my time because I can't be going back to jail. This is my time to shine. So the beast is unleashed.
Oh.
And on February 3rd, 1929, Maria Kuhn was walking when Peter jumped over her and drug her like by her coat into like a bush, told her, don't fight, don't scream. He stabbed her 24 times with a pair of scissors while he was having sex with her. Some of those wounds were so deep that you could see the bone. But she survived.
I get why I get it now. She survived.
She survived. Yeah. That was a late reaction.
I know. It took a while to. Well, I was like, in his former life, he was
Edward Scissorhands?
Maybe, but I think in his former life he was probably an animal. That's why he was like so attracted to animals, because that was part of his kingdom. And he is real animalistic with these. He's so vicious.
Yeah. Listen,
but she was stabbed with scissors 27 times.
24 times.
24 times. She lived to tell about it.
5 days later,
She
he
died.
strangled a 9-year-old named Rosa. So then there's, how old was Maria? I don't think I
10.
said.
Well, there was a 10-year-old, 17-year-old. Then
I don't know where Maria. I think Maria was grown. And then now we got a 9-year-old. He strangled her until she lost consciousness, stabbed her 13 times in the stomach, the heart, the head, the
she
genitals
definitely died
with scissors, while raping and ejaculating. He tried to hide her body under a covering, and then he returned hours later with kerosene and set her on fire. He wanted to make sure she died.
Oh, he went all like he
took it all. He got all his what's the one where you like fire?
Arson? Oh, when you're
pyroglyphics? Pyromania. Pyromania, his peakism, all of them.
No, that's when you dress up and you get off. That's a different.
You just want to say that word.
Yeah, I did.
5 days later, he killed a 45-year-old mechanic male for unknown reasons. He said he just stabbed him 20 times in the head, in the back, and the eyes. And then returned to the scene of the crime to talk to the police about it.
Well, that was nice of him.
Yeah. Injected himself in the
You
car.
know what? I think he might have killed Missy Beavers.
He came back.
Continue.
It is the, 8-year anniversary? I think it's 8-year anniversary.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, because it's April? Is it? Oh.
April 18th.
Shit.
Even though these 3 murders were different in age and sex and everything, investigators finally concluded that they were probably committed by the same individual. So now they're like, we got a madman on the loose.
Clearly. With a really sturdy pair of scissors.
Very good pair of scissors.
I mean.
But they didn't have any motive, like robbery, and they're used to crimes making sense. Robbery or something like that.
He's just
back then, a lot of people just didn't kill just to kill. Like there was a motive, and remember, serial killers don't have to have a motive. Okay, so the German press was covering all these attacks pretty extensively, and they discovered that they thought that he might have been drinking the blood of his victims.
Oh, we discussed this in a key term earlier in the episode. I've already forgotten the key term.
It's an H word,
hemoglobin.
Something.
So he's a hemoglobist.
He's a hemo drinker. And that's when they coined him the vampire of Dusseldorf. Now.
What a name.
There was a I'm using their terms, mentally handicapped man that lived in Dusseldorf at this time.
Okay.
His last name was Strasberg, and he was arrested for like a little petty crime, and they were trying to find somebody for this crime. So they questioned him, and because he wasn't mentally there, he ended up confessing that he was the vampire of Dusseldorf. And he was locked up in a mental institution, and the police were happy that they got the culprit of these horrific crimes.
Oh, the
town was happy. I think they had a vampire party.
That sounds right.
I think they did.
I would have done the same.
Made that up, but they probably did.
Yeah, I would have done it. Yeah.
Now, except for while the alleged killer was in the mental hospital, Peter strangled.
Turns out there was another murder with scissors.
4 other victims randomly, but none of them died.
Okay. Could they not identify him? Did they let the guy get out of the mental institution?
He did eventually get out because now August, while the guy's still in the mental institution, another girl was raped and strangled and stabbed. And then her name was Maria Hahn. Peter had actually met her and asked her out on a date to a meadow.
I love
Would
a meadow.
you like to go on a date?
Nobody solves a problem like Maria
to
in
a
the
meadow and have a picnic.
This is very Sound of Music.
It is very red flaggish. Let's go meet in a meadow and have a picnic.
But that's what they did on Sound of Music, and they were in Germany.
Yes, it does sound very Sound of Music.
I remember her singing to the children with the picnic basket on the blanket in a meadow.
Well, Peter did not bring a basket or a blanket. He just brought
his scissors.
Weapons. And he killed her in the meadow. and sat there
In
and
the
watched her
wide
until
open,
she
beautiful
died.
meadow. Way to ruin the meadow.
And he never
What's
buried
like a
his
meadow
body.
for?
His bodies because he needed. He never buried his bodies because he wanted the town to go crazy. But he was like, I got blood on me. And if there's a murder in the news, I don't want my wife to connect this blood and this murder. So he dug a hole and he buried her. Okay. And he was
Okay.
like, I'll
Did he
just go back and do something with her later.
Why is he freaking out now?
And that he did. He
Oh.
went back.
I was gonna ask about August.
To
Isn't
dig
that
her
his
up.
wife?
Yeah, August is still around.
Oh shit. Okay.
Still around.
Okay, so he went back, dig her up.
To dig up Maria, because he was going to do something. He was going to pin her up on a tree like Jesus. Like he wanted to nail her hands to the tree and her feet to the tree and make a mockery of her. But he said that her body was too heavy. So
fat shaming.
Instead,
and
I'm
she's
trying
dead.
to remember his somatotype. Yeah, like he was just too floppy, like too dead weight. He ended up just letting her corpse lay on top of him for a while he just stroked her hair and stroked her body.
I love a weighted blanket, so I kind of get it.
It helped his anxiety.
And sometimes, like, if you're single,
felt
like I'm
comfort.
single, and so sometimes it's nice, like, just to get a hug. You feel like you're, so I mean, I get it. Like but he had a wife, so I don't know why.
I'll lay on top of you here in a minute.
That is so sweet.
Y'all, I'm gonna lay on top of Caroline.
I need that to happen, and I will stroke your hair.
Oh my goodness!
This is maybe my favorite episode ever. I think we're getting a lot of listeners.
It's
never gonna end.
Stroked her, and that made him feel better. And then he just reburied her and kept her right there. Now, he decided that he wanted to send in a letter to the police station.
Oh, hell. Now he's trying to be...
Because he didn't get any glory off Maria's body. So he was like, let me send a letter
so
that they know where to find Maria's body. So he did.
Yeah.
He went and found Maria's body. He needed some glory. He likes the...
He needed to go... Listen, he should have been working out this whole time so then he could lift fat ass Maria and put her up on the tree.
Like Jesus. Oh, man.
In the meadow.
At least it wasn't around Easter time. It was in August. And
August is his wife, so I'm real confused with the dates, and the wife's name's August. I mean, this is a whole thing. He's doing too much.
He's doing a lot.
But he just cooled off for 4 years, so I mean, I get it.
Yeah, because it's still in August, and he sees two sisters, another Gertrude. There's like 45 Gertrudes. And then Louis Linzen, one is 5, one is 14. They're walking home from the fair.
Oh.
And Peter bumps into them, and he tells older sister Louis, can you go buy me some cigarettes right there at the store? I'll watch Gertrude.
Yeah.
It's fine.
Yeah.
So Louis leaves, goes get some cigarettes, and when she comes back, she sees Gertrude has been strangled and the throat has been slit.
Okay, that's not good to see that ever.
So she starts running, but Peter catches up with her, strangles her, and beheads her.
That is very rude of him.
And this is when he has the urge to drink the blood. So I don't think he has a cup. I think he just drinks as it's pouring out of the body.
Yeah, that's what you do. That's actually how it's done.
So this is actually when he earns. So I don't know if he has been doing it before. I think he feels like he needs to live up to his vampire of Dusseldorf's name. So he decides to drink the blood.
He is just thirsty for blood. Literally.
Yes. The 27-year-old Gertrude, he says, have sex with me. And she says, I'd rather die. And he goes, okay, we'll die then.
Okay, we'll die.
Stabbed her in the neck, in the head, in the shoulder, in the back. And
it's like random
raped
spots
her.
of stabbings. Like you just like...
Well, it's just because that's what he gets off on is like the shit entering the body.
Like the poke and needle.
The head, yes. Albert Fish, I think, did this, but he would do it to himself. Like he would poke all these needles, like in his groin and on his. Albert Fish is another good one.
Yeah,
to
like
do.
that was just like therapy. Isn't that like a needling? Yeah, that's basically what he's doing.
Okay. Except for when on his autopsy, hundreds of needles were found inside of him. Albert Fish.
Oh, like he ate them?
No, like he poked them all the way in his skin. Poked them all the way through.
Ow-wee! I can't even I don't like a paper cut. Are we on Gertrude number 3 now?
I think this is Gertrude number 3. But Gertrude lives.
After her head was severed? Sorry, I think that was
stabbed.
Okay.
Yes.
That was number 2, that her head was severed.
Yeah.
Now this one, listen, we're getting back on track here. This one, this is after the one that said, I wanted to die.
This is Gertrude, 27-year-old Gertrude is the one that said, I'd rather die.
I'd rather die. He was like,
said,
okay, well,
yeah.
Here we go.
She ended up living.
She ended up living?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So he's leaving less and less time between his attacks, so he's losing control. He was already a random opportunist, right? He didn't have a certain type. He didn't care what age they were.
Young one. He likes them young though.
Or they're the ones that are the most that are available.
Yeah.
Because he's in his 40s, and I guess 27 is, younger than 40, but he didn't. To me, it's a big. Either you like 27-year-olds, or you like 5-year-olds.
10-year-olds,
you can't
5-year-olds, and now you're confusing.
He just likes the act of what he's doing to any flesh ever.
Yeah.
Now he decides to switch it up, and he's like, "Forget scissors, I'm gonna get hammers." And he finds Ida Reuter. He rapes her and beats her to death with a hammer. And Elizabeth was killed in the same way of Ida. And then there's 2 more people that were attacked with hammers, and they survived. But because Peter changed his weapon, authorities separated these crimes from his previous crimes.
And is he drinking all their blood too? I mean, he has to be. And at what point does he become a cannibal? Because he's nibbling.
I think he falls under cannibalism.
Yeah.
I mean,
he probably
his list is just so long.
Yeah, he definitely was taking nibbles.
There are a lot more attacks, but a lot of them ended up being non-fatal. And he received. Hold on. Police started this murder squad. And they received about 13,000 letters from people suggesting it was their neighbor, it was their husband that was a vampire, it was the weird man in the park that was a killer.
Hell.
But police were so desperate to find it that they followed any and every lead that came in.
Oh, no.
More than 9,000 people were questioned.
Oh, my.
The list of suspects had 900,000 names on it. So they didn't just open up a letter and throw it away. They at least added it to a list. They were DTF.
They were definitely DTF.
Police like that.
No, they don't.
They're
that
not like that these days.
How they do it now. They just are like, mm-mm.
But it's about to come to an end because Mary is about to save the day. It's May 1930, and Mary Budlick is arriving Budlick.
I can't. It's got to be Mary Budlick.
Just arrived in town looking for a job. And she was supposed to meet a friend that was going to show her where her hostel was.
Oh,
yeah, open it. She's going to show her where her hostel was. Now, her friend didn't show up to the train station when she got there. And she had never been in this town. She's supposed to go to this hostel, but she didn't know where it was. And this well-dressed, nice-looking man came to offer her and asked, do you know where you're going? And she says, no, I'm trying to find hostel so-and-so. And he goes, oh, it's this way. It's just right over here. I'll take you. Okay?
So nice.
So she goes with this man, and this man starts to grab on her and make a pass at her, and she starts to scream, and the man runs away.
Oh.
Well, another man comes to her rescue, and this other man is Peter. Peter is the hero. And Peter says, oh my goodness, you shouldn't be alone at the train station by yourself. Where are you going? And she goes, I'm trying to go to this hostel. And he goes, oh, I bet you're hungry. Come to my place. My wife will cook you dinner.
That's so, yes.
August will cook you dinner.
August will cook dinner.
But August wasn't there.
You're going to be the dinner.
And you're going to be the dinner. August wasn't there. He ended up making a pass at Maria. And Maria says, no, thanks. And Peter was like, you know what? You can leave if you're not going to loosen up.
Yeah.
So he says, you know what? I'll just walk you to your hostel.
Okay.
So he walks her through a forest.
Oh.
And in this forest is where he rapes her and chokes her, but does not stab her, does not kill her. He does say, you don't remember where my house is, do you? And she goes, no, not at all.
No.
And so he walks off. So you know the point to where people say when serial killers are ready, they're ready. Or they would serial killers they're so smart that they could never, if they wanted to, they could never be found. Jack the Ripper, never found. Who else was never? Zodiac, never found.
Yeah.
And so a lot of psychologists believe that they want to be found towards the end. They want people to know who they are so they can have their ultimate fame. So people are like, was this his way of eventually being found?
Yeah, because you don't just let the one go and you don't...
Yeah, and you don't just stop all your isms. Because
you never stop your isms. You never stop your isms. I am at this... Yeah, you never stop your isms.
Never stop your isms. So she went back and she didn't even tell the police about this. She ended up at her hostel. She didn't tell the police about this, but she did write a letter to her friend. And she was telling the story of what happened, her rape, to her friend. But she put the address wrong on the envelope. And the mail carrier didn't know where to deliver it, to deliver the envelope, because the address was wrong. So this nosy-ass postal worker was DTF, because she just opened up the letter. Had to have been a woman. I'm gonna say it's a woman, but probably back in those days it was a man. Opened up the envelope and read the letter. And when they read the letter, they were like, it must have been the vampire of Dusseldorf that has raped this woman. Let me take it to the popo. Oh, hell no. So he took it to the police. And Chief Inspector Gannat, which is the one that started Gannat, I know all these words, that started this murder squad.
And this is Maria Budija. What's her name?
This is Mary Budnick's rape. So the postal worker read about Mary Budnick's rape.
Yep.
And took it to the chief inspector.
Yeah.
That's kind of handling the vampire case, right? And so he contacts Maria because your address is on the envelope, right? At the hostel that she's staying at.
Yeah.
So he goes to see Maria, and Maria was like, can you describe him?
She's so confused because she's like, how did you even get this?
Yeah. And Maria was like, because I didn't say this, but Peter, especially back then, was a good-looking guy. We wouldn't think so now, I don't think, but he was well-dressed.
He was clean cut. I've already looked him up.
Yeah. And he looked like a trustworthy, good-looking guy.
Yeah, he's like Ted Bundy. Like, this is probably
He's
the
first Ted Bundy, probably. Now, Maria was like, I don't know his name, but I do
know his penis
where he
size.
lives.
Oh.
I do know where he lives. So she took the police to his apartment. Oh. And he was not there, but the apartment manager let them know the name of the guy that lived in the apartment they were trying to get into, and his name was Peter freaking Kurten.
PFK.
Peter saw them and took off. He knew this was about to be the end.
Yeah.
But, Peter's resourceful. And so he waits till they leave, and he goes back home, and he goes to see wifey August, because he's still with August.
Yeah.
And
he's like, listen, babe.
he says, I got something to tell you. Remember those vows we took for better or for worse?
This is the for worse.
This is for
and
the
you
for
need
worse.
to stick with me through this.
And if you do, I'll make you rich because they have a $10,000 reward out. So why don't you go to the police and tell them that I confessed to you? Tell them to meet me at this church because that's where we were going to go together and confess all my sins. Great plan.
I love it. You
And
know what?
August is all about it.
Yeah.
'Cause August
She's a
is like,
businesswoman.
what?
You thought she was just a murderer.
Sure will.
She is a businesswoman. She is all about it.
She's like, I had to screw men my whole life for money. She's an ex-prostitute.
Yeah.
Now I'm not going to have to. And $10,000 back then was
It's
a
like
lot of money.
basically 4 million or billion. It's basically like $400 billion. Yeah,
These
I get
days.
it.
So, all that happened.
All that. They
went to the church.
And they went to the church.
And he was there.
And did she get her money?
She got her money. When Peter was arrested, he did not resist. He just had a smile on his face.
He was
a very
like,
proud smile.
Yes. And let me tell you all my stories. Yeah, that's what he was ready. He was
ready.
like, I'm the vampire.
Please
Here's
post my picture everywhere.
Here's my scissors. I might suck your blood, but only if I can stab you 400 times first. And don't show me a squirrel.
Don't show me a squirrel. Peter confessed to psychologist Professor Carl Berg, who later wrote a book called The Sadist about him. He confessed that he did drink the blood of his victims and that he felt pleasure when the blood spilled. He confessed that he did not rape all of his victims, but those that he did to confuse the authorities. So he raped some, not others, to confuse the authorities. Same thing with switching from scissors to hammer. Like he was
in the meadow with Maria.
He knew about what a profile was before we even knew what it was.
He basically invented the game Clue.
I think
it's like,
he did.
I killed Maria in the meadow with the scissors, or is it like I killed, somebody at the inn, Gertrude at the inn with my hammer? Like,
did it?
You're all over the place, Peter.
The psychologist determined that he was not insane and that he was competent to go to trial. So then there is a trial on April 13th, 1931. He was charged with only 9 counts of murder, 7 attempted murder. Now, the number that they have attached to him is 9, but they do think it's a whole lot more. He tried to withdraw his confession by saying that he only confessed to get the money for his wife, that he was being a good husband.
Yeah.
But there's too much evidence against him.
Sorry about it.
He blamed his childhood. And
it's fair.
I know. And he blamed Germany's prison system because he spent all that time in solitary confinement. And he said all he had was to masturbate and be horny because that's the only thing that brought him pleasure in this little bitty room. Before he was executed, he wrote letters to the victim's family asking for forgiveness and then one saying goodbye to his wife.
I mean, what else are you supposed to do? You can't be mad.
He later said he did not feel guilty for any of the crimes.
Well,
they did not make him feel any type of way. That he didn't only cared about how it was going to make him feel at that time, and that was good.
Yeah.
He said that all his feelings were taken away as a child, and therefore he did not have feelings anymore. I know, it's true.
I know.
It's true.
Yeah.
He was very aware that he was sadistic, but just thought it was hereditary because of what his dad did. Like, he basically did what his dad did. So on July 2nd, 1932 at 6 a.m., Peter Kurten was executed by the guillotine.
Oh.
Head
guillotine?
Guillotine. What I seen?
I don't
know.
Kerosene?
Guillotine.
And you stick your head through that hole and then it chops it. They need to bring that shit back. for sure. He needed to be poked with a bunch of needles before that. Maybe scissors.
Yeah. His last words were to the Professor Carl, asking him, after my head is cut off, do you think I'll still be able to hear the sound of my own blood spewing out, even for a moment? Because that would be the ultimate thrill and the pleasure of all pleasures, to hear his own blood.
Yeah, I for sure think he heard it. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I was actually always wondered that. Mm-hmm.
Are you still alive for a little bit?
I feel
like you are.
Yeah.
You're still blinking. I mean, we know that you're still blinking. The lady.
He probably is not even dead.
Now, his head was split into two and mummified, and his brain was removed to be observed and studied for forensic analysis in order to explain his actions.
Oh.
They found no abnormalities at all. And when the war was over, they brought his head to the United States. And you can go to the Ripley's Believe It or Not Museum in Wisconsin and see his split open head.
This is why there's so much shit in Wisconsin. Why they are all a hot mess. Oh my god.
That's my next museum I need to go to. Ripley's Believe It or Not Museum. His split open head.
I'm going to Google his split open head.
Now, here's my question. Do you think he was born to kill or conditioned to kill?
I would say conditioned. I think his environment was real fucked up when he was little.
So bad.
I mean, all you have is anger. But I don't know why he just... But why did he have to drown the dogs?
Just where it starts. Little, innocent, available.
Yeah.
Control.
And then I think it just, it grew. So I don't think it was born with it. It was just like he had seen so much shit. He hated everything. Yeah.
They were saying that his dad came from a long life of like alcoholism and like sadist type people. And so that it was basically like a family pattern. So that he was probably at least going to be what his dad was. But what made him go like over the edge? I don't know.
This is the quietest I've ever been.
Anyways, there's Peter Kurten.
Wow.
Done, and done.
All I've been looking forward to this whole entire episode, actually not really halfway through, was when April lays on me.
I'm about to lay on Caroline.
Yes. It's what I've wanted. Oh my gosh. And I'm going to rub your hair. It's going to happen. What a great episode. I love the story. Peter Kurten.
Yes. Thank you, Jackie.
Thank you, Jackie. Like, who even knew?
I know.
And
we've been asleep on Peter Kurten this whole time.
And she did this whole episode in Spanish.
Yes.
¿Cómo se llama? I don't know.
And I finally have tuned into some podcasts this week, and I already have my next 2 stories on deck.
Oh
Jackie also sent me some other ones. But I found, and one of them, okay, I don't know what you're going to do next week, but another one is going to be a lot lighter than this.
I mean, this was pretty great. This was pretty great.
It's going to be great.
Actually, guys, we want to tell you this is our last episode. Just kidding. That was a great story. I loved it.
Good stuff. Good stuff. Okay. We will see y'all next time. Send this episode or a previous episode to a friend and tell them to start tuning in to Bloody Happy Hour. Be part of the Bloody Gang. And we'll see y'all next time on a whole new episode. Don't forget to
stay aware. Wait. Stay aware.
Stay alive. It's only been 3
Always
years.
be DTF.
Bye, y'all.
Bye. But she's going to lay on me real quick. So if you're still watching.
This has been a Rogue Media Network production.